As you've heard over and over and over today, is we as a community of congregations, I think the count right now is 107, somewhere in there. We define ourselves by people who extend the peace of Jesus Christ, making disciples, forming leaders, growing congregations. The mission office, the mission staff, the mission council, we strive to find ways to do that. Not just to be disciples, but to make disciples, to form leaders, and to grow congregations.
The purpose of Relearning Community has been to resource and equip congregational teams to go and make disciples in their congregational context, their cultural context, while also deepening their relationship with God. One of the key questions and challenges of our time is whether the church is made up of consumers or whether we are actually producing disciples. Most people recognize discipleship as a major challenge. Whatever the denomination or cultural context or size, the main question many in our Canadian context are asking is, how do we disciple people well? How do we engage those outside of the church? How do we move out of the church ourselves rather than waiting for others to come and join us? This is the call to missional discipleship. While many of us may have invested our lives into others, we may also often have been met with the frustration when we don't see second, third, and fourth generation disciples. We need disciples who make disciples who make disciples. As leaders begin to take hold of the principles of discipleship and mission, it's important that we have the tools to enable them to live out these principles and impart them into the next generation of disciples. Since 2014, MCEC has invested staff time, financial resources, and social capital in the pursuit of this bold vision. To date, we have journeyed together with 17 congregational teams through the 2-year journey of Relearning Community, with 12 of those teams nearing the completion of an additional 2-year community of practice. In November 2018, we began our 4th cohort of an additional 10 congregations, so that's 27 different congregations in total. This fall, we're hoping to launch yet another cohort, and your congregation is invited to be a part of that. Relearning Community, both the weekend events and the ongoing weekly and bi-weekly coaching, have been an effective vehicle for sharing principles around missional discipleship, whether with established congregations or church plants, with senior leaders, with church planters, with missional community leaders, and everything in between. I know that somewhere along the way we have not communicated well, and some of the feedback that I've gotten is that Relearning Community tries to squeeze a congregation into a predetermined evangelical mold. If that's the message that you have heard, then please accept my apologies. That's on us for not communicating well. Knowing your culture, knowing your congregation, knowing your neighborhood, please share your insights with me as to how we can do this together as a growing regional church. The vision of our regional team is to see a growing movement of mission and discipleship across Eastern Canada, and in partnership with Mennonite Church Canada, to add nutrients to the fertile soil for a movement of missional discipleship across the country. We believe that every community deserves a Jesus-centered, disciple-making peace presence. And as we've begun to see the fruit of Relearning Community, a network of connected congregations has begun to form, and with it the potential for broader resourcing in the areas of discipleship, missional formation, community development, and even social enterprise. Through our relationship with Catalyze Change, we have been invited into a networking relationship with other regional teams around the world. Each of these teams has been on a journey similar to ours, and are on that journey still today, developing a vision for missional discipleship within their own geographic and cultural context. As we grow our own regional expression, taking on greater leadership and responsibility, we are blessed to remain connected to a larger network of continued investment, coaching, training, and support. June 2019 will mark a significant shift in our relationship with Catalyze Change, as we will move from a coach-student relationship to one of partnership in the call to go and make disciples regionally and globally. We are at a stage in our development as a regional team that challenges us to articulate a vision that encompasses the transformative disciple-making vision that launched us on this journey in 2014 and welcomes us into new opportunities that we are being called into today. As we've begun to explore other avenues of resourcing around missional discipleship and have identified the need to develop We've identified a need to develop an umbrella-like ministry to house a broad range of initiatives that, alongside of Relearning Community, which will continue to invite teams of congregational leaders to explore together and experiment with new methods and ideas around missional disciple-making. We have also been asked to consider what it might look like to offer coaching around discipleship, what it might look like to offer retreats and workshops in various ways. And so we've arrived on the word innovate, the invitation to embrace the possibilities in making changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods and ideas. I think it beautifully articulates the transformative disciple-making mission that we have been called to, while also providing a large umbrella space to continue to explore and innovate around new ideas and methods. As Innovate takes shape with the partnership of a network of congregations exploring together what God is calling us to, it provides the space to explore new learning around culture and context, experimenting with missional communities, supporting and releasing missional movements regionally and nationwide. I dream of Innovate becoming something like the research and development arm of the mission office, growing resourcing and capacity around congregational innovation, church planting, small group ministry, incarnational mission. All of these we do together in partnership. We are not alone in this journey. And so I've invited Rich Robinson, leader of Catalyze Change based in Edinburgh, Scotland, to share briefly about our journey together.
It's a great day, a wonderful day of celebration, and it's so good to be able to be with you. My name is Rich Robinson. I head up Catalyze Change, and I remember the first day I met Brian Bauman. He came, visited us in Sheffield, saw what we were doing, and through those early months we had the conversation of not just discipleship training and events and content, but this could be contextualized and innovated, taken on, lived out and led out in a Mennonite context and culture. And so here we are at this stage where we're talking around innovate. We're talking around Norm and the team taking more responsibility. And it's been a wonderful journey from those first learning communities where Relearning Community was birthed. We were able to come and teach and train a key group of pioneering churches, moving through to the community of practice, thinking through the translation and the integration of the content. And then now into the regional responsibility, the relational responsibility taken on through Innovate. And for me, that's a wonderful joy. It's always been the desire for us not to come and run programs and give content, but to build friendships and family, to make this something that is owned, contextualized, and then multiplied in a Mennonite context and a Canadian context. And so I'm excited. I have such high regard for Norm and the team. It's been wonderful to journey with him, doing one-on-one coaching, building friendship, strategy, and culture, as well as see the team take on responsibility. And what's exciting is it's not goodbye, God bless you, off you go, that Innovate and MCEC stay part of a global family, a group, a collective of leaders and of denominations in regions who are desiring to live out the culture and practice of discipleship and mission. So Innovate have the invitation to come to the global Catalyze Change community of practice alongside peers, brother and sister movements and works from different parts of the world. I'll continue to connect with Norm. So this is the opportunity for both the freedom to contextualize, but also the sense of family to be part of something bigger. It's wonderful to be part of this great journey with you. I'm praying for you and thankful for you.
There is much that remains to be developed and shaped together with our growing family of congregations within MCEC and our global partnership with Catalyze Change. And Innovate provides us with the opportunity to continue to experiment and to grow into the bold disciple-making vision that helped MCEC embark on this journey more than 5 years ago. Growing as disciples together with the global church is increasingly who we are called to be as a regional church. During last night's offering, you already heard me share the story of our renewed and growing relationship with the church in Ethiopia and how that impacts ministry in MCEC. These images on the screen highlight some amazing stories of entrepreneurship and leadership that grows out of intentional mentoring and discipleship. Sadly, I don't have the time to share these stories today, otherwise you might be here tomorrow morning. In the most recent issue of Sprout, which was in your congregations, I think, several months ago, I shared the story of the Brew people. This emerging church needs our prayerful support as they grow in an Anabaptist faith understanding with the dedicated help of witness workers Tom and Christine Pouvon. And flowing out of more than 12 years of relationship and ministry together with our Chin sisters and brothers, today, the president of Myanmar Mission International, Pastor Joshua, is here with us. So I invite Pastor Joshua to stand up. Welcome. Pastor Joshua represents 84 congregations and some 8,000 believers who have recently invited us to take further steps in our relationship together to grow an Anabaptist faith presence in Myanmar. We are just in the beginning stages of that conversation now, and we look forward to what God is doing among us.
There are, as Norm suggested, so many stories. I just want to tell the most recent one. It happened last night. Norm came to me, and as you get to know Norm, he comes up to you and says, "This is so awesome!" You know, he's got these big smiles, and he's a big guy. He says, "It's awesome!" I said, "Well, what exactly is so awesome?" He says, "All of the headsets are gone. We run out." What headsets? The translation headsets. We need to buy more. It was just a few years ago that we bought about twice as many as we thought we needed. It was 60 years ago, approximately, that folks from leaders from St. Jacob's Mennonite Church determined that they were called to Quebec. And the mission and ministry in Quebec has been a difficult slog. No one has ever described it as a huge success. We have no mega churches in Quebec. But last night, there was such a demand for translation into French that we ran out of headsets. We need more. I think that's a mission story. I think that's a great story. And we give thanks to those initial leaders out of St. Jacob's Mennonite Church. Because that, my brothers and sisters, it took 60 years, but I'm going to declare that a success. Amen. This is awesome.